Rebounds. I am sitting here so incredibly grateful for all of you. So deeply grateful. You guys have improved my life beyond measure and given me so much. I can't even begin to list it all. It's been wonderful. I have learned so much from all of you. I have enjoyed you just immensely. It is so much fun to interact with you. It's the best. It's the best. And I so appreciate each and every one of you. So back to the topic of learned so much from all of you. I can't even begin to tell you. But what I can tell you is right now, I am sitting at probably the best thing I've learned in all the years on YouTube from you guys. I am just so tickled, and it keeps delighting me day after day after day. And I heard about it from several of you who live in my area. Where I am right now is a place called Bitney Springs. You're like, what's a Bitney Springs? Bitney Springs is an underground natural spring that has been plumbed so that you can drive up and fill your containers with fresh, glorious, mineral, nutrient-rich, natural spring water for free. For absolutely free. It is so incredibly wonderful, and I'll tell you, I've known about it for about 2 weeks now, and I'm still not over it. I am still so tickled by it. Why am I so tickled about a natural resource for spring water? Well, there's lots and lots of reasons. First of all, that's exactly how we were supposed to be drinking water from a natural spring, not in miles and miles of piping, and who knows what condition the pipes are in most of our cities and towns now, filled with fluoride in some places still. And, you know, what do they have to go through to clean the water that comes out of the tap? We were designed to drink natural spring water because it's so darn good for us. Let me tell you the difference between a natural spring and the water that comes out of the tap. Spring water bubbles up from deep within the earth, and as it comes up through the rocks and sediment, it gets filtered and cleaned. In addition, it picks up minerals and trace elements in that journey, giving us tons of nutrients in our water. So natural spring water has things like calcium and magnesium and potassium and trace elements, just lots and lots of good stuff. In addition, that journey from deep within the earth, as it bubbles up, that water is going to give you the nutrients that you need for that area. So the specifics in a spring water in my community are different than spring water in other communities. And look, you can see all the cars pulling up. This is such a popular place. And one of the most fun things about Bitney Springs, at least for me, is sitting here watching all the people pull up. It's mostly hippies because I live in old hippie land, but there's young and old, kids and grown-ups. I mean, it's just a busy place, and people drive up with their containers and they fill them up and off they go. I found this thanks to many of you who said, hey, there's Bitney Springs, you might want to go check it out. I did. I've been thrilled. Where can you possibly find a spring in your area? The only resource that I know other than just word of mouth within the community is a website. I think it's called Find a Spring, and I'll have it listed down below in the description box. And I believe it's you put in your zip code and they show you all the springs around you. Now that could be a swimming spring. It could be a natural spring for water. It's all kinds of springs. So it's not just drinking water springs. It's all kinds. But I think it's definitely worth a look for you to see what's in your area. And if you can get natural spring water that you just pull up, fill up your containers, take it home with you. Oh my gosh, what an incredible gift. So I have my containers in my trunk and they're plastic, which is, it's not my first choice, but it is what I have. Speaking of plastic, this is a little segue. This is how my brain works. I read somewhere recently, someone said everything on the planet that's made of plastic can be made of hemp. And that makes me wonder, can we create containers from hemp for things like storing food and collecting water and that sort of thing? So you hemp gals, let me know in the comments. So I'm here to fill up my containers. I'm going to give you guys a little peek at the springs. It's crowded. There's been like 4 or 5 cars pull up just since I've been here. It's so very popular and so very fabulous. So I went in to share a little tip that I started doing this week, and I'm really, really liking it. I sit in front of my red light every morning for 10 minutes. Now, I have a really hard time just sitting there for 10 minutes. It kind of makes me crazy. I don't know why. And I would find that sometimes I would skip it because I didn't want to sit there for 10 minutes and do nothing. It just seemed like a waste of time. I know it's good for me and all that, but I would find myself skipping it because I didn't just want to sit there. Well, I've started doing a couple of things during my red light treatment, and it's made all the difference in the world. First of all, it kind of like does the 2 birds with 1 stone thing. And it also makes that 10 minutes go faster, which is crazy. The first thing that I do is I do the floppy hand thing. So I will do that for maybe a minute. And if you don't know what the floppy hand thing is and why you should be doing the floppy hand thing, I did a video on it and I'll have it listed down in the description box. Go watch that video. It's all the little things that you can do that are easy and fast that you don't have to go to the gym or sweat a lot, but are really, really good for you. So that's a good video to watch. So I'll do the floppy hand thing. And then the other thing I've been doing is I've been doing my lymphatic drainage on my face. So what I'll do is, I'll take my shower for the day and then I'll put on my skincare. And the skincare I'm using right now always ends in my C60. And see, the C60 skincare is oil-based. The carrier is oil. And so my face is all oily. So I'll just put my hair up, put on my skincare. I've got all this oil on my face. And I'll sit there in front of my red light and do my lymphatic drainage the whole time during the, the 9 minutes I have left after I do the floppy hand thing. Here's the deal. First of all, my face looks so much better because I'm doing my lymphatic drainage more consistently, and the time goes by really, really fast. And I'm still getting the red light all over my body, just moving the little, this is what I use for lymphatic drainage right now. If you haven't seen this, this is really a cool little deal. It's a few dollars on Amazon, and it's a whole lot like another device that is called the Anma that I was looking at for years, but it was so breathtakingly expensive for a piece of plastic that I could never pull the trigger. And then I found this on Amazon. I'll have it listed down below. Anywho, I sit there and do my lymphatic drainage, and the time with my red light just goes like that. So if you have a hard time sometimes doing your red light because it just seems like hard to sit there, give this a try. I think it might go by faster and you feel really efficient when you're done. Hey, baby, what are you doing? A couple weeks ago, I did a video where I talked about how the local businesses love me because I use cash all the time. And I kind of went through a little explanation of why I feel cash is king and how credit card companies really do charge what I think is an exorbitant fee for charging things. Well, I had a comment from a lady, and she was very unhappy at my less than flattering characterization of the credit card companies. And she told me flat out that I should not be talking about things I knew nothing about. Way back when, my first real job was as a stockbroker for E.F. Hutton. And when you're a stockbroker, you go through training and you graduate in classes from the training, just like, class of whatever for high school or class of whatever for college. And so I graduated with my little class at E.F. Hutton, and I was vying for position of number 1 or number 2 in the class for the first couple of years. And I was competing against a friend of mine. We became pretty good friends. His name was Greg. Now, Greg would be number 1 one month, I'd be number 1 the next month. It was back and forth. Greg, nice guy, really sharp. He ran for governor of New Mexico a few years back. I don't think he got the nomination, but just a bright guy. And I think that he has his own investment firm now. At least that's the last thing that I heard about him. So after I worked with E.F. Hutton as a financial planner, stockbroker, whatever you want to call it, I decided that I wanted to stay home and have children. So I gave all my clients, which is, your book, it's called your book, and I gave my clients to my husband, who was also a financial planner and stockbroker. So I was in that marriage for 25 years. I was married to a financial planner after being a financial planner stockbroker myself. After my marriage ended, I had 2 companies. The first was a company that I had built in that marriage. It was an art licensing business. And I worked with pretty much all the major manufacturers throughout the US and around the globe who produced products for sale at retail that had images on them. It was a great career. Hi, Renee, if you're watching. Renee was one of the wonderful people I worked with. And I also had a high-end pool construction and landscape business. If you want to have a miserable life, open a pool construction company and landscape business. You will work 24/7. While I was doing that, I was also trading options on the CBOE just as a hobby. So long story short, I know a little bit about the financial markets. I have not talked about it much on this channel for a couple of reasons. Probably first and foremost, I didn't know if it would be appropriate. I mean, who wants to hear financial information from someone who just told you what lip liner to get? And honestly, I think that probably 99% of you would not be interested. So I've kind of kept it to myself. But today I am going to give you a tip. And this tip is based on what I know is coming. And the fact of the matter is that I could right now probably give a very interesting, although not terribly comprehensive because I wouldn't have charts and graphs, of the financial markets in the US, gosh, since the Great Depression, all the way up through the dot-com boom, bust, and then of course the 2008 meltdown, which really struck me because I knew the markets were rigged. I had no idea that they would devastate an entire economy for themselves, to make money themselves. So what I can say is that every single financial crash that has happened in the US since the whole Jekyll Island agreement, and those of you who watched the video on the Fed that I talked about in that video, you'll know what I'm talking about. Every single financial crisis we've had has been manufactured, and it's all manufactured to push money uphill. I don't know if you've noticed, but every time there's a huge financial crisis, who suffers? We do. And who makes a whole lot of money? The banksters and, all their friends. So I know it's coming. So this little tip is to help you through that. And it's an easy one. It's not financial advice. It's just a little tip. And that little tip is when you go out and you pay cash and you get ones and fives in change, and even the change, like the quarters, dimes, and nickels, I want you to put them aside. And you can put them aside in a fancy little container like this plastic bag I have, or something pretty. But what I want is for you to set aside all the small change you get. Not the 20s, not the hundreds that you get from the ATM, but the small stuff. And just tuck it aside. And also keep a little bag of this in your car. Ones and fives and quarters and dimes and nickels, that sort of thing. Why? Because most likely you're going to need it. And I want you to hang on to it until you're pretty clear, because of the landscape that's going on in the country. It's pretty clear you don't need this anymore. So super easy. Just, every time you come home after you paid cash and gotten change, just put your ones and fives and tens in this little bag and set it aside. And my guess, based on my experience, although apparently I don't have much, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I do a little bit. I think you're going to be happy that you have it. Okay, let's get my black socks out of the way right now. Just when you thought I had a sense of style, I'm wearing black socks. I got my package in from Pure Frequencies. And if you're on my email newsletter list, you know that I ordered these. And gosh, I ordered them right around the holiday season, and it took a bit for them to get here. It really did. I don't know if that's how it goes all the time, or if it was just because it was the holiday season. I suspect it was the latter. So I'm going to open these up. I haven't opened them up at all. The only thing that I've done is I cut the package open, so I'd be able to get him out. I thought we would do it together and kind of poke around and see what we got here. But before we do that, I want to tell you a story. Lucy's up here too. This is the furry butt that you see over on the side. When I was in my mid-30s, I belonged to a women's group. And it was one of those kind of women's group that you get together every week. Well, we got together every week, and we talked about our lives, and we talked about our problems and our relationships and that sort of thing. You know, kind of one of those group therapy sessions. And I had been in this group for a while, and we would have, I think, like 8-week sections, and then you'd sign up for the next 8 weeks. Well, one of the evenings when I was there and the meeting was wrapping up, you know, it was coming time to close, and everybody was getting ready to stand up to do the goodbyes and the hugs and, you know, just sort of the thing you do socially when you leave a group. Well, that night, I stood up with everyone else, and the next thing I knew, I was up on the ceiling. I was up on the ceiling looking down at everyone. So I was out of my body. And one thing I can tell you, and I remember it like it was yesterday, it's as clear as it just happened 5 minutes ago. So I was up there looking around at everyone. And one thing I can tell you, emphatically, I didn't feel any different. I was thinking and observing, and my personality was there. Everything was the same, except for one thing. I felt giggly or more bubbly, or you know, that kind of sensation before you're about ready to start really laughing. It felt like that. It felt like champagne bubbles. And I can remember looking down at everyone, me included, and the next thought I had was, oh, I don't know which one I am. So there was a perception that I had to figure out which body belonged to me. I remember kind of sensing that there was at least somebody else there or some others there, because why would I have said that? Like, oh, I don't know which one I am. And pretty quickly after that thought, I was back in my body again, and I was, you know, perceiving from the position of being in my body and looking out my eyes and that sort of thing. So what happened there? Well, we are everybody, your body, my body, your spouse's body, your friend's bodies, everybody's body, Lucy's body. We are all a set of frequencies, and frequencies are like fingerprints. Each one is unique. There are no two people that have the same frequency set. And what happened when I went up to the ceiling out of my body was my frequency set shifted so that my perception was broader. In other words, the amount of information I was getting was broader than what I usually got. So I perceived from a different vantage point, because these bodies, they're kind of the cars we drive when we're here. So before we come into this world, we kind of choose the car we're going to drive, and then we drive it around for, I don't know, 80, 90, 100 years. And then we go, you know, back to where everything starts. You can call it source, you can call it God, you can call it heaven, whatever. So you might think, oh, she was at a higher frequency when she was perceiving that room of women from the ceiling. And I would say, yeah, you could say that. You could say higher or lower, but I think a more accurate description is I, in that moment, was letting in more light. And what light is information. And light can at times indicate a different state of feeling. In other words, when I was up on the ceiling, I was feeling very giddy, very giggly, very bubbly. Just everything was the same, except I was like on the verge of cracking up. And what I perceive it to be is that in that moment, I was letting in more light so that my observations were broader. I had more information. That is why we have terms in our language, and we do it unconsciously almost. And you'll notice this once I point it out. So we could say, oh, she just lights up a room when she comes in. Or, oh my gosh, I had a light bulb moment. Or on the other side, you could say, oh gosh, it was just really a bad situation. Things got really dark really quickly. So you can see that in our language, we have a level of understanding about the amount of light and what light is. And essentially at a physics level, light is information. It is more information. And that's why people who are a little bit more on the holistic bent will say, go out into the sun, get some sun every day, because that light from the sun is literally packets of information. So not only are you soaking up, good vitamin D, but you're also being exposed to more light, which is in essence more information into your frequency set. There is a photo out there, and I'll try to get it and put it up here for you guys, of Penny Kelly when she was on stage at a conference. And I believe there's 3 or 4 other people on the stage as well, along with Penny. But Penny has this incredible glow around her on this stage in this photograph that the other people on the stage don't have. And again, I'll try to get the photo. I hope it's up for you here right now. I've seen it. Penny had decades ago a full Kundalini experience. What is that? A Kundalini experience is a frequency shift based on electricity, and it is an electrical upsurge that goes up your spine that literally turns on a lot more functions in your body. So when she had that full Kundalini experience, it was overwhelming, first of all, and it's really hard on a body, that electrical surge and change of frequency in your body all at once. But she tells stories of how she could literally tune into conversations a mile away and hear everything. Or the people across the street know exactly what they were saying and what they were thinking. Why? Because she had more light on board, which is more information. So, we say higher frequencies or lower frequencies. I think a more accurate description would be to say more light or less light. So that experience that I had where I was up on the ceiling, that was a moment, for whatever reason, I stepped into a frequency set that expanded my ability to take in more light, so my perception was broader. So that's a little background in frequencies, and I wanted you to hear that before I open these up, because what is this? These are tuning forks, and they're from a company called Pure Frequencies, which I just found on Instagram. And I had been thinking about getting tuning forks, not for music so much, but for health, for frequency adjustment, for different health issues, because people are using tuning forks now to do a lot of really good things. And I thought, oh, I really want to try them. So this company, they're the ones that finally convinced me that they had a good product. I'd been looking around at other companies, and I went onto Amazon, and I was hesitant to buy something because I wanted to make sure that they were really good, because different frequencies can really have a dramatic impact on your body, but I wanted to make sure that they were a good quality frequency generator. And you can listen to different frequencies on YouTube, or you can download them, or you can go to the Monroe Institute and download different frequencies. My concern is that coming through my computer and my speakers, I'm not sure how pure those frequencies are going to be anymore. I'm not saying it doesn't work, and if you do that, awesome. I think it's nothing but, an upside, particularly if you get it from a reputable source like the Monroe Institute. But I wanted to have something that would generate those tones or those frequencies in my own house. So I'm excited about these. So here's what this box looks like. I ended up ordering 2 sets. I ordered one set on their website. It was during the holidays when they were having a sale, and I listed it in my email newsletter. If you're not on my email newsletter, you might want to be. It's kind of really handy and super, super popular. So I ordered one off the website, and then I was doing the checkout thing, and you know how they'll pop up and give you a great discount on something in their product line as you're checking out? They got me with that. So I ended up ultimately ordering 2 sets. So this is the first one, and it comes in this little case. It looks like leather. It's not. It's just like a pleather thing. And here we go. So this is how it looks right here in the little set. Now, you guys, I haven't done this at all. So if you do this all the time, and you see me being a nitwit with it, don't pick on me. So this says tuning fork activator. I got this as well. And so I guess this is, all right. So, can you guys hear that? Put it up to the microphone. Oh my gosh, this is fun. Can you hear that? I'm not sure if you can hear it because it's really, really soft. What I've heard is that there's 2 types of tuning forks. One that have this little option on the bottom, and this is more for using on your body. And I have seen videos on Instagram, and I will try to find one and share it with you, of a gentleman who has Parkinson's disease. And if you're not familiar with Parkinson's, it's the kind of condition where you have involuntary movements, you know, like this. You might have seen someone. I had a really good friend in Reno who had Parkinson's. It's generally a later in life onset thing. And this guy on Instagram comes on, and you can see that his Parkinson's is active, and then he puts a tuning fork onto it and just touches his body with it, and you can see his body stops with the expression of the disease. He all of a sudden is just normal. He's not doing the movement thing. So I know that there's validity to this. Now, let's see. Let's do it. Is this how you do it, you guys? Can you hear that? And I've seen people go like this, like for headaches. Oh my gosh, you can feel it in your body. I'm probably not doing this right. Somebody's probably losing their mind right now. This is really great. So I got 2 different sets. So, okay, this is Earth Star 6805 is what it says. So this one, I wonder what the difference is when you hit it with this. And I've seen people put it right here, or put it on like an organ or a different muscle. There's different ones on the Pure Frequencies website. It says like harmony and grounding and different ones. And I ordered 2, and now I can't remember which one. So this is the one here. Let's open up the other one and see what it says. I'm going to learn all about this, you guys. I'm going to be a stellar information source for this. So this is the other one. Oh, okay. So this one, I think this is the one that I originally ordered because there was different hertz in this. And the way that they categorize them is by hertz. So I think the one I just showed you was the sort of extra set. So there's 2 here. So this says 128. Oh, this is 136.1. This one is 256 hertz. And what I will do is I will try to have on the screen underneath where I'm talking what this hertz correlates with, so that I have a little more information for you guys, because I'm just now opening these up. And this is 384 hertz. So what I understand is these that don't have the little attachment at the end of the tuning fork are more for clearing around your field, you know, like funky energies or just a state of being or how you're feeling. And then my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, those of you that are already using tuning forks, Put it down in the comments if I'm incorrect. These with the weights on them are more for placement on the body that gives a deeper vibration of the frequency into your body. So let's do this and see what happens. So if I go like, oh, can you guys hear that? This is the 384. Oh my gosh. You can feel it in your body. You can feel the change. It feels really soothing. It's what it does. I want to make sure, can you guys hear that? Let me know if you can. Okay, so this is 384, and it's going to sound a little different because it's coming not only through my microphone, but then your microphone on your computer or your phone or your tablet or your TV if you're watching it on TV. So this one is 256, and again, I will try to have the corresponding frequency name. Can you, oh my gosh, that's good. This is 256. You can feel it. It's really, it feels really good is what it does. It feels really good. Okay, that's those two. And let's look at this one. Okay, this is 136.1. That's deeper and richer. There, I'll put it near the microphone. This is going to be so fun to figure this out. I promise I'll come back and let you guys know how I incorporated this in. Okay, I'm putting this near the microphone so you guys can hear it. There are a lot of accounts on Instagram. If you go to Instagram and you type in tuning forks, there'll be a lot of people that show you how they do it and which ones they prefer and stuff. I will try to have more information on the screen for you, and then I will come back. That feels really, really good. I've got it up against, you know, the bones in my chest, and I can feel the vibration through my body. Anyway, super, super cool. Again, the company is Pure Frequencies, and I do have a discount code down below. I'll have it in the description box down below if you want to check them out. So this is my new toy. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be spending the week learning how to use these and more about it. So anywho, good vibes, ladies. Okay, so I have to tell you this story. What happened this week? I am, you know, working on my bird feeder situation, and I moved the bird feeder on the other side of the little tree, and I'll give you guys a picture of that. But I also added one of those bird feeders that you stick on the window, you know, so the birds come right up to the window. And I have to tell you what happened this week. It was so fun. Lucy and I are sitting here, and all of a sudden I look over at the window, and there's a squirrel hanging on the bottom of the window ledge trying to get into the feeder that's attached to the window. And he's 3 feet away from me, staring right at me, trying to scramble up the window. It was the stinking funniest, cutest thing. I just loved it. It made my whole week. So I'm hoping they're going to come back. He was with the little squirrel friend. I haven't seen him since, but oh my gosh, that was so funny. Anywho, that's what I've got for you ladies today. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys know it just makes my day when you take a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything beauty, fitness, and lifestyle for the over 50 and over 60 woman. Make it a great week. Be kind out there, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye now.